Okay, so I'm a big fan of the Wonder Years. The Wonder Years started in 1988 and ended from 1993. 1988 to 1993, 5 years. I'm a huge fan of the show. I've been a fan of that show since 2005. We're talking 16 years. I remember buying the complete series on DVD back in 2005, and I was hooked to it. Um, I mean, just obsessed with the Wonder Years. I mean, basically, it's a white family. They're all white people, but you really don't see it. It's really not about race. It's not about color. Yeah, Kevin Hart is a white kid. He's a suburban, but it deals with teenage problems. It deals with going to school, getting pimples, getting rejected, getting worried about getting bad grades in school, trying to better yourself, trying to trying to graduate from college, graduate from high school, middle school, trying to survive everyday life problems, trying to survive gym class, trying to survive just trying to make sure you don't get late to school. Make sure you can, you get a crush on your teacher. So it dealt with everyday life problems. I really did when I watched the show, even now as an adult. I've been a fan of the show since 2005. I used to watch it back in 2001. It was on Nick at back in the 1990s. It was on Nick at Night. Back in '97 to about 2001, and then he took it off the air. Then I remember watching it on ABC Family back in 2001, 2002, and 2004, and then I remember getting it on DVD back in 2005. And I got the complete series on DVD. It's a very good show. But now they want to make that into... A lot of people are upset, especially a lot of white people. They want to make this into a reboot. They're rebooting the show into an African-American family. And a lot of white people who grew up with the show are mad. I'm like, no, don't mess with the white show. You can't turn a white show into a black show. They're not saying it, but they're really upset about this. The whole race swapping. And when I say this, it's the show. It doesn't really revolve. There are millions of people who grew up in the 60s. So I think it's time that, black people, we never had a show where we had that shows the life of an African American boy. Never. We've never had a show. I mean, Everybody Hates Chris is different. That's a comedy show. I don't really consider that's just a wacky little comedy show. But we never. This is going to be the first time that black people we get to see what life was like for a black boy growing up in the 1960s. Him dealing with racism, dealing with going to school, getting dumped by a girl, getting a girlfriend, breaking up with a girl, dealing with his friends, dealing with school, his family life. I think this show is going to be good. A lot of people who grew up with the show in the 90s, 80s are really mad. But I think a lot of white people feel like, they're not going to feel too comfortable with African Americans. I mean, a lot of white people really don't understand black culture too well. I'm black. I grew up with black culture. But a lot of white people feel like I'm not going to relate to the show because I'm white. Hey, I watched the Wonder Years. And the people in the show are white, and I relate to the people in the show. So I think a lot of white people are going to like the show. I think it's going to do good in the ratings. In the narration, it's going to be kind of cool, kind of weird, but this is going to be the first time we ever see an African American sitcom as a drama where we see a black guy looking back over his life as a teenager. So this is going to be really good. I'm